Hi Amanda, I wanted to make a second quick video to just give a couple of small pointers that might help with the emails. One thing is that just a bunch of small things for readability. What we want to do is probably see how we can make a piece of text like this just look less intimidating, right? So the way it is now, it looks kind of it's just going to be a massive headache basically to read that. So what I would like to do is see how we can break this up with a little bit more maybe some subheadlines, the way we use our spacing, etc., to see if we can make things more compelling to look at, just so people feel less intimidated when they see it and be like, whoa, there's a massive amount of text, I'm not in the mood for that, and then basically not read it. So for instance, just pull up real quick, this is the email course that I shared with you, which is another one that I use, right? So just a couple of things that you can do to make it easier for people to digest is make the first piece where you do this kind of pre-intro and just make that, italic. So it's clearly differentiated from the rest of the text. Maybe what you can do is just put these sentences, put them, put a few together, break it up, a couple of them separated, etc., etc. So there's if you just look through these emails, and it's a little bit hard to maybe pinpoint quickly, but it's it's less of just this massive wall of text, right? So the way that I use a few small headlines and use some summaries here, and then a little quote here and some bullet points and stuff like that, makes it easier for people to read through, even though the text itself is just as long or maybe even longer actually than yours. It makes it even easier for people to just go through that. So that's something that I would recommend if you have a second to look at that you just go through the writing one final time and see how can I highlight a few things, how can I make it easier to read, how can I put show people where the emphasis basically is and stuff like that. So I think that will help for people to work through it even quicker. Another thing I would recommend is if you can put a quick small picture of yourself, so it makes it more relatable for people because they can see your picture and it feels more someone real basically that they know or something like that. And what you want to do with the pictures is underneath it for the first pictures that you use. So in my case I just use a picture really at the top where I just show image of Holland. And you want to tell people that there's an image there and that they need to turn their images on in order to see it, right? So that can help people to realize, oh, I actually need to turn that on. And it may, all these kind of small things make it a little bit more personal. So that's two things that I would like to kind of point to real quick. If we can work on that a little bit in the text, it will be easier for people to read through. Just it's the same thing, but it just looks more digestible, let's say. And I see that you've done that, already in some pieces, but it could probably be better. If you want to get really kind of advanced with this, what you want to do is make the headlines in such a way that if people just read the headlines or the bolded text, that they can still kind of get it, what we're talking about, right? So that kind of the headlines itself tell the story and the rest of the story, fleshes it out in a way. So that's maybe also a thing to look for. I'm not even sure if that's something to worry about for now. The main thing is just to see how we can present this text in such a way that it feels less intimidating. So bullet points and bold and italics and small breaks and all kind of stuff you can think of that you could use to make it more digestible. That's a good idea. And then another thing is about this image, which is really handy, I guess, if we can just add that real quick. That's for the emails. There's another thing that I wanted to touch on real quick, which is that I fleshed out the details of these other emails also. So I thought I'll just walk you through that real real quick. So basically what I want to do in like day 5, 6, 7, 8 is like present this water theme, right? And what I would do with the water theme is first make like an email which is kind of like this hook for the bonuses that are coming. And you want to tell them why we're doing like this 4 elements things, right? Because we believe that God is in the details, and it's like those kind of things really bring the magic of yoga forward, or something, whatever. And then tell people what water stands for, so they have sort of a clue about that. I think water probably stands for, I don't know actually, probably maybe for like wisdom or something like that, I guess. And you can easily find that kind of stuff. Wait a second, there's some. It's okay. And then what we want to do is like really in this 5th email sell people on the bonuses that are coming, so that they're like, that it's super obvious for them that they need to open up like these other emails, because we'll be telling them it's like really cool bonuses. So that's basically really important. And what we can do is a call to action, for instance, say like, hey, you can download here this like little brochure about water or something like that. If we can pull that together, or we can just use it as like a first call to action where we say either go to the sales page or hit reply if you want to know more, blah blah blah, and then we kind of like start moving towards this closing. Definitely what I want to do in all these emails is have some form of call to action, so it's easy for us by the end of day 8 to know whether people are interested or not, right? So if they haven't clicked on those call to actions, then we know, okay, we're not going to bother them about it anymore. So that's an important one. So day 6 and day 7, we basically want to tell about these bonuses, right? And the call to action is probably, okay, contact Amanda to get like all these cool bonuses and get started. And what I would like to do on the 8th day is tell them about a story of why it's important to have a studio rather than these individual trainers, right? So it's the benefits of being in the real life family and all of that. And then to introduce that particular trainer, right? That's coming for that teacher training, or maybe 2 if there's 2 of them. So we basically pitch that also as a bonus. And then there needs to be a really clear call to action. Click here if we need to hold a spot for you or something like that. So it's like the easiest thing they could possibly do if they have some level of interest, and we should like follow up with them. And if that's not the case, we're not going to follow up with them. And then what we're going to do is like have this flow for qualified leads. So common questions, basically what you want to do is just answer like a bunch of questions that people probably have. So this is about handling objections that people have. So, how does it work with like coming to Bali? No, that's actually a hook that you can use for, well, that's something of a bonus that we'll tell you about tomorrow. How does it work? Like, how do I need to pay? What do I get? Etc. 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 I can send you a bunch of questions if you want, but maybe you can also just take the questions that you know that people worry about and that people have on their minds as kind of like a thing, and we can just start doing kind of like Q&A kind of format in the email. Call to action is going to be contact Amanda, of course, again. Then there's this bonus thing of like probably personal story, how you felt like super afraid coming to Bali, right? It was all like scary and intimidating, and we've got you covered with that, right? So all of that you don't need to worry about, because we have like this airport pickup and anti-jet lag pampering, which I think is actually really cool. Sounds like a nice idea. And then we outline what the bonus is. Here, day 11 is an interesting one. What I want to do with day 11, more than anything else, is tell some sort of like, either like a customer story or a story of yourself or something like that, that just builds some implicit urgency. So there's 2 ways of urgency. There's like one urgency is that, the course is closing down. So if you don't book it now, then you can't get in anymore. That's the more like hard sell kind of urgency. But there's another form of urgency that we can use, which is more like soft sell kind of urgency, which is where we say, okay, this course is going to be available, this month, and in 3 months there's another one, and there's another one. But there's a thing which is urgent, which is that you're stuck in your life, right? And you want to get unstuck. And how long are you going to wait to get that stuff kind of sorted out. So if we can tell some sort of story which basically has the format, if I wouldn't have done that at that point, then, you know, all this cool stuff wouldn't have happened. If it wouldn't have been for me to do, you know, to ask this guy out for a date, then it would have never like been anything, and now I'm like happily married, blah blah, something like that. Or, you know, could be tons of different stories that have that kind of format where people have this kind of like implied urgency of like, yeah, it's you know, it's the right time to make a move right now. So that's basically something that I would like to do in day 11. Day 12 is like last bonus, which about basically illustrates the value of being in the community again, right? Being in like this studio rather than like individuals. So that's also about positioning. And what we could say, for instance, some sort of story where we say like, basically if you want change to happen, you need, more than anything else, you need new people, right? You need to be away from all the old people that just keep you stuck, right? That want to keep you in your old, you know, your mom that wants you to keep your job and all that kind of shit. You need like new people with new insights and new. And that's also, you know, that's implicit why you should come to Bali, and that's why you should come to a studio like ours, where there's a lot of new people that can help you, you know, make new changes happen. And that's why Rhythmically Alive is basically is home away from home, blah, 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 blah. And if you want to experience that community, we have this like whole bonus package. So that's like a really cool way to experience that. Then on the last few days, what I want to do, this is really kind of almost standard, I guess, sales stuff. Basically, we want to summarize what you get, right? So kind of like breakdown of, okay, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get this training, you're going to get this bonus, this bonus, this bonus, this bonus. And click here if you want us to contact you so we can get this stuff started, because kind of like things are filling up, blah, 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 etc. Day 14 is for people that have questions, to call them out specifically. If you have any more questions right now, hit me up and we can get started. And day 15 is basically, okay, we're almost full. This is kind of the point where you need to make a decision. We're closing down for the August batch. If there's anything that's stopping you, then, you know, this is time to move. Either call Amanda or click here if you want us to kind of like lock down your spot. And in that case, we'll just be in touch with you also, pretty much, right? So this is like two different ways to get in touch with them. And probably on day 18, this kind of stuff's probably not even the most important one. We want to basically say, okay, stuff is closed down, it's cool. The August training is filled up, the doors are closed. The next one is going to be this October training, right? Which is actually early bird now. So if you're interested in that, then let me know, right? So then we basically start selling that already. Or if you want like some last minute intake, then just call Amanda. I'm not sure if you can join, but I can put you at least on the short list. So if places come available, you can still join. So that might be, you know, the last way out for people to still get into the August training. That's kind of my idea here. Now, one more small thing that I want to drop, which is that I thought what we could also do as a way to contact you is set it up through Facebook Messenger. So you can actually make people connect to your Facebook page, and then you can chat with them in Facebook Messenger. And might be that that's actually a really nice kind of way to be in touch with you, because it means that it's something that works on your mobile phone, that's like convenient and kind of like casual, right? And it feels a little bit less intimidating probably than writing back an email in a sense, and it's maybe more convenient for you also than calling, for instance, scheduling calls, stuff like that. So that's a small idea, and I thought that's maybe something to think about. Also not the most important thing for right now, but that could be that would work pretty well for people to contact you through Messenger. That's it. So that's like a few pointers on the emails, and then basically some pointers on what I have in mind with these other emails. And I'll just leave it to that, and yeah, we'll be in touch.